Hey, Sofrito lovers, this is Ben Ramos bringing you another mukbang from my palatial home here in the Northwest Bronx. The Bronx is the home of hip hop and salsa. I am bringing you some delicious bite guisado, basically stewed steak with some gandule guisado, stewed green pigeon peas, and of course some white rice because we're going to have a gandules. You're going to have it with white rice. Ay, Sofrito lovers, it's been 2 weeks. Perdóname, forgive me. It has been 2 weeks. Today was the second day of my summer program. First of all, wait, let me backtrack. Why has it been 2 weeks? Because unfortunately, the last 2 Wednesdays, I have been busy. Getting home late, tired, not feeling it. Having simple dinners because for the past 2 weeks, I have been working on starting up the program, the summer program that started yesterday. Today was my second day. I just spit so much rice out of my mouth. Perdóname. Can't be a Ben Ramos, sofrito en my soul, mukbang if I am not spitting food por todo lado. Sofrito lovers, the past 2 weeks have been just a whirlwind of work. Getting home, being tired, and saying, listen, I'm having a simple dinner. I can't film right now. I have no energy. I have no life. I don't want to talk about anything. And today was the second day of that summer program that I started yesterday. Sofrito lovers, estoy cansado. I am tired. It's been 2 days now of 10 and a half hour days. Tired. But tomorrow's July 4th. I'm home. A great little day off. Then Friday we work, and then the weekend. And then next week, a full 5 days of the craziness. But we're not there yet. We're here having some bistec guisado and some arroz con gandules. It has been an interesting period of time, especially the amazing thing that has happened to me. If you read the title of this mukbang, I have found Jesus. That's right. Not that I'm Christian. I have found my friend Jesus Prieto. Jesus Prieto is a Dominican guy my age who grew up in my neighborhood. Someone that I swear I have not seen since I was maybe 10, 11 years old. It is amazing how the memory works. I was on Grand Concourse going to go get food 2 days ago. No, not 2 days ago. Yesterday. Yesterday was Monday. Today is Wednesday. Mi gente, the job has just been driving me crazy. My program started yesterday, Tuesday. Today is Wednesday. This happened on Monday. On Monday, I am on Grand Concourse on my way up here in the Northwest Bronx, on my way to go get food, when I noticed this guy, good-looking Dominican brother, kind of staring at me. I assumed maybe the father or relative of a former participant of my program. It was near my school. And he was eyeballing me a little hard. And I noticed him, and I did one of these, like, what's up? And he looked at me, and he said, Mira, tú eres el hijo de Don Benny, ¿verdad? Like he said to me and translated, he said, hey, you're Don Benny's son, right? And I looked at him and I said, yeah, I'm the son of Benjamin Ramos. I'm Ben Ramos Jr. Yeah. I was like, how do you know? I was like, who are you? How do you know who I am? And he said, you don't remember me? And I was like, not at all, sir. Who are you? He says, it's me, Jesus Prieto. We grew up together on 139th Street and Amsterdam Avenue. And the second he said Jesus Prieto and 139th Street and Amsterdam Avenue, West Harlem, where I'm from, a thousand memories from childhood popped up. This is someone, again, that I have not seen. I have not seen since I was a child. And I went up to him and I said, oh my God, how are you? Now, a little bit of backstory. I grew up on 139th Street and Amsterdam Avenue. As much as I love the Bronx and I consider myself a Bronx boy to a degree, I'm originally from West Harlem. In fact, my New York heads that are here from New York, I grew up across the street from City College. I've been living in the Bronx close to 30 years now, but I grew up in Harlem. So my father was a bodeguero. He owned a bodega. For those of y'all not from New York and not Spanish speaking, a bodega is an old Spanish term for like a store, a grocery store. And bodeguero is just a funny way of saying, a fancy way of saying you own the bodega. You were a grocer or a grocery store owner. In my neighborhood, my father's store was on street level, and we had an apartment above it, in the building above it. So, my father was a fixture in the community. My father was a part of that generation in the 70s and 80s where bodegas in New York City were primarily owned by Puerto Ricans. Now it's, 2024, New York City. Dominicans own a lot of bodegas, and a lot of South Asian and Middle Eastern people now own bodegas. So my father was a part of that generation where in New York City, the term bodega was very popular because, it was mostly popularized by Puerto Rican, Dominican, and Cuban grocers. So, my father was a fixture in the community. And, my family was a fixture in the community because we all worked in the store. I always tell my kids, don't tell me you can't do anything and that you're tired and all that. When I was your age, I had a job. I was running a family business, which was true. If we want to be technical, I've had a job since I was 5 years old, So it was the family bodega, the family business. We all had to work in it. At one point in time or another, we all had to work in it. My brother, my sister, and I, and even cousins. Okay. But I've digressed a lot. Jesus recognized me. And I look at him, and the more he told me his name and where, our neighborhood, and so many memories came back to me. Jesus was one of the few guys in the neighborhood that was kind of like a good friend. We grew apart, as kids do. We never went to school together. He went to public school, I went to Catholic school. He knew me from the neighborhood. He was always a great kid, a really smart, nice, good kid. And so was I. I had no choice. My mother and my father were not having me run around the streets like some hood rat. That was not going to happen. But Jesus also came from a family where, the father was, I believe his dad was like this cab driver and worked all the time. And mom had a job, and I just dropped all of this food on the floor. You would think that I had no home training whatsoever. Let me pick all this up from the floor. Give me a sec. Okay. It's like I don't know how to put a fork to my mouth. Jesus came from a really working class family. And his parents also did not play. Much like me, Jesus was not allowed to run around the streets. Jesus' mother and father were like, we're not losing you to these streets. Not at all. You're going to school, you're going to study, blah, 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 blah. You're going to stay out of these streets, you're going to stay out of jail, you're not going to be a teenage father, all of those things. His mom and dad were like my mom and dad. No joke. Disciplined, strict. We want more for you. All that good stuff. Jesus and I start to catch up. And we're pretty sure that the last time we saw each other, Jesus and I are a year apart. He's 1 year older than me, but not by that much. Maybe, yeah. Is it even really a year? It's probably less. Started catching up on life. He's a dad of 3 wonderful kids. Has worked in the medical field. For many years. He told me he's been a home attendant, a physical therapist, chiropractor, a lot of different things in the medical field. He says, I've done everything medical except go to nursing school or go to medical school. I was like, I hear you. And I told him I work here. He was like, you're a teacher. I said, no, I work in the nonprofit field, and we just try to catch up. 3 kids, 2 divorces. I told him I have a fiance. You know, he was like, oh, that's wonderful. And I was like, his name is David. And he looked at me and went like, oh, okay. I was like, yeah, there's been some, you know, a lot has changed. And he laughed and we laughed. And we caught up as much as we could. Even though he was going in one direction, I was going in another. And I said, bro, I can't believe you saw me and recognized me. I don't look the same as I did when I was 10 years old. And he was like, you don't, but you still look like your mother. Now, you guys have never seen my mom. My mom and I are, no one could ever deny that I'm my mom's son, because our faces are completely symmetrical. This face and a little bit more feminized is my mom's face. I look just like her. When I go visit my mom in her nursing home, whatever nurses come in to see and speak to me, my mother will tell them this is my baby. My mother, because I'm the youngest of 3, my mom will still refer to me as her baby. They will look at me, look at her, and go, oh, of course, she looks exactly like, I think every nurse has probably said the same thing. You look exactly like your, oh, of course, that's your mom's face, all of that. And he said, I remember your mom, how sweet she was. And I remember your dad. And he said, any chance your dad is still with us? And I said, no, my dad passed more than 20 something years ago. He said, really? And I said, yeah, my dad died. My dad died in January of 2003. So we are going on, in a few months, it'll be the 22nd anniversary. We're working on 21 years of my dad passing. So, you know, he did the math, because again, we're both similar in age. He was like, wow, you lost your dad in your mid-20s. I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. He was like, wow. And then he proceeded to tell me that something very similar happened to him. He was in his early 30s when his dad passed, and his late 30s when his mom passed. So he said that was a rough period of time for me. They died within 9 to 10 years of each other. And I told him about my mom. He was like, oh, God bless her. You know, I hope you guys visit her a lot. I was like, yes. He remembered my big brother and sister. You know, my big brother and sister were 2 light-skinned Puerto Ricans with bright red hair. So he was like, oh, el Colorado Alto, the tall redhead. And I was like, yep, that was my brother. He's still around. So is my sister. And, you know, we caught up for a few minutes. It's amazing how much we caught up within like the 5 to 10 minutes that we were talking. But it was just amazing, because I don't get to see people from my childhood a lot. It was very impactful, because they had me thinking about how Jesus was really one of the very, very few people in my neighborhood that I liked. My neighborhood was filled with a lot of, growing up in the 80s, that part of Harlem was very hot. A lot of dangerous folks, sketchy people, and a lot of the kids were bullies. I was a nice, quiet, little fat boy nerd. And I didn't have many friends. And the kids in my neighborhood were a lot more rough and tumble. Loved to be in the streets, run around, fail school. That's why a lot of people that were my contemporaries, my age, are either dead, incarcerated, or anywhere outside of the United States, so that they can't be extra, they can't return to the United States for various legal reasons. So Jesus wasn't like that. Jesus was a nice kid, and I didn't see him much because, like I said, I was in that store or I was home. My parents did not have me running around the street, so I was either in the store working, in the bodega, at home, in school, or somewhere with a parent or an elder sibling with me. I didn't run the streets. And Jesus and I had, again, similar childhood. He had an older brother that according to Jesus, had a very dignified military career. His older brother, I think his older brother's name was Antonio. It was Tony. Yeah, Antonio, Tony. Jesus told me Tony had an amazing career in the military. Army, I believe. Army or Air Force? Army, I think he said. And, retired from there. And, mom and dad were his mom and dad were extraordinarily proud of him. He dedicated his life to the military. Excelled and did well. And, he got out of Harlem. He got out of 1980s drug-ridden, kind of crazy Harlem. So, and he reminds me of me and my siblings. We didn't become a product of the streets. We all had our different careers and different work paths and different, passions and, But, yeah, so Frito Lovers, I share it because it's very significant, because I don't get reminders of my childhood often. I didn't have the best childhood in the world, a lot of reasons. And not really having a lot of good people around me and not having good friends was one of those. And running into Jesus and just looking at each other. I mean, also, he's my age and he's a good looking dude. I joked around with him. I was like, bro, you were a creepy, fugly little kid, because he was. And I said, bro, you grew up and you were handsome. You are gorgeous. And he was laughing. He was like, hey, you have a fiance, portate bien. He was like, hey, you have a fiance, behave. I was like, hey, I'm just calling it as I see it. And he kind of looked at me and he said, you always look like your mom. Your mom was very beautiful. And he was like, and you look really good too, Ben. And I was like, all right, yeah. So it was great. So I just wanted to share that with you. It's significant. I got to see an old friend. And we did the whole, hey, look me up on Facebook, look me up on this and that, and I'll look them up and maybe, maybe continue a friendship. Who knows? So I found Jesus, and so can you find your Jesus as well? So, Frito Lovers, listen, I'm gonna finish this off camera. Cheers to old friends, and reuniting with good people and building maybe something in the future and remembering good memories. So here's to new friends that are old friends and old friends that are new friends. So Frito Lovers, go out there, go taste for yourself. Go have some culinary adventures. Como siempre, mucho, mucho amor.